There are 6 Japanese kitchen rules that Americans break every single day, and they are the reason bugs keep finding their way into your house and you don't even know it. Most Americans break at least 3 of them without realizing they even exist. The Japanese approach is built around a single idea. Don't fight the bug after it's already inside, remove the thing that brought it there in the first place. Which is why you can spray the counter, take the trash out, and still see something moving across your kitchen floor by the end of the week. The first rule is the reason that cardboard box, sitting by your fridge right now, isn't just packaging, it's a nursery. Rule number 3 is the reason your trash can is doing more to attract bugs than your dirty dishes ever could. And the last one is the rule that explains why an entire country decided the fight against bugs isn't a fight at all. It's a chain reaction, and it is the one you will remember for the rest of your life. The first Japanese kitchen rule Americans break is about the box things arrive in. In a Japanese kitchen, packaging gets broken down and separated from its contents almost immediately, because household waste rules are strict enough that sorting materials by type is just a daily reflex. Cardboard doesn't get left intact to double as storage. In an American kitchen, the delivery box gets carried straight to the counter, opened there, and very often the box itself just sits nearby for days before anyone deals with it. Here's what's actually inside that box before it ever reaches your counter, and it's specifically one species you need to picture. German cockroaches are the ones that actually live in American kitchens, and unlike the bigger roach that comes up through a drain from outside, this one almost never travels that way. It rides in. It gets into a house inside grocery bags, secondhand appliances, and cardboard shipping boxes, and once it's in, it stays in, because it can't survive outdoors in anything but the warmest climates, which means the delivery box isn't just where a roach might be. For this specific species, it's the primary way in. Cardboard itself is corrugated, built from layers with air pockets running between them. To you, that's packaging. To a roach, that's a corridor. Dark, warm, exactly the width to hide and breed in. But here's the part that changes everything. A female doesn't lay loose eggs. She produces a hard-shelled case called an ootheca, and that shell exists specifically to protect what's inside from exactly the things you'd use to fight it: chemicals, drying out, physical damage. A German cockroach case can hold up to 40 eggs and takes roughly 3 to 4 weeks to hatch, which means the box you opened and recycled 3 weeks ago could have already left something behind that hadn't even become a problem yet, patiently developing inside your own recycling bin on its own schedule, not yours. So, when you carry a delivery box straight to the kitchen counter and open it there, you're not just unboxing a product, you're opening something that may have carried the one species built to move in and never leave, straight into the one room where you actually prepare food. If you don't believe me, go find the oldest box still sitting in a closet or garage. Look at it from the outside first, nothing. Now pull the flaps open and check the seams where the layers fold together, and specifically the corners, because that's where a case gets glued, not out in the open flat of the cardboard, but tucked into a seam where it looks like nothing at all, even up close. The catch is that flattening the box for recycling doesn't solve it. The same pockets are still there, just folded flatter, and a case that's already glued into a seam survives folding just fine. It sits in a garage for weeks before collection day, developing on its own schedule. So open delivery boxes outside or in the garage, never at the counter. Break them down the same day, not the same week. You've been treating the box as neutral packaging when it was never neutral, and the thing you did next made it worse. The second Japanese kitchen rule Americans break is about what your food lives in once the box is gone, and this is the one that will actually surprise you, because you probably think you're already doing it right. In Japanese pantry habits, dry goods get moved into sealed containers, glass, or tightly lidded hard plastic, essentially the moment they enter the house. In an American pantry, people have started doing something that looks like the same habit but isn't, sealing the cereal or the flour into a zip-top plastic bag and calling it handled. Here's the problem with that. Pantry moth larvae have jaws strong enough to chew directly through thin plastic and cardboard both, and they're not guessing where to bite. They can smell the food through the bag and chew straight toward it. A snap top or zip seal bag isn't a wall, it's just a slower door, and it also leaks scent the entire time it sits there, which is what actually draws them in from somewhere else in the pantry in the first place. Hard glass or thick gasket-sealed plastic does 2 things. A bag can't. It physically stops the bite and it stops the smell from ever announcing what's inside. you've been sealing your food against dust, not against something that specifically hunts by smell and has the jaw for the job. So the moment dry goods come into the house, they go into a hard container with a real gasket, not a bag with a fold or a zip, and the original packaging goes straight to recycling, not into a drawer for later. Go check the back of your own pantry this week. The bag you don't remember buying is the one that's had the most uninterrupted time for something to find it. Fixing what your food lives in only matters if the room around it isn't actively inviting something in every single evening, and that is a habit most Americans have never once questioned. The third Japanese kitchen rule Americans break is about how and when trash actually leaves the kitchen. In a Japanese household, garbage bags have to be transparent or semi-transparent. Food scraps get bagged separately from other waste specifically to control odor, and trash never goes out the night before collection, only that same morning, because putting it out early is known to draw animals and pests overnight. In an American kitchen, the trash can is opaque. Food scraps get mixed straight in with everything else, and the bag can sit in the kitchen or by the curb for a day or two before it's actually gone. Smell travels before anything visible does. A sealed, separated bag of food waste sitting for a few hours is a completely different object to an insect than the same scraps mixed loosely into a bin that gets opened and closed all evening, releasing a little more odor every time the lid lifts. The rule against putting trash out the night before exists because that overnight window, bag sitting outside, untouched, unobserved, is exactly the stretch of time pests and animals use. And it's also usually the longest single stretch of uninterrupted time your kitchen trash ever gets. You've been treating your kitchen trash as something that's dealt with once it's bagged. It isn't dealt with until it's actually gone, and until then it's still doing something. So bag food scraps separately before they go into the main bin, keep that inner bag sealed rather than resting open, and take trash out the same day you'd put it at the curb, not the evening before. The gap between bagged and gone is where this rule actually lives. The fourth Japanese kitchen rule Americans break is about the drain, not what's around it, and it's actually about the other roach, the one rule one wasn't. In Japanese kitchen habits, pouring boiling water down the kitchen drain on a regular basis is a known practice specifically because it's understood that pipes themselves can host eggs and larvae, not just the visible surfaces around them. In an American kitchen, the drain gets zero attention as long as water is still going down it, because if it's draining, most people assume it's fine. The bigger cockroach species, sometimes called a water bug, doesn't ride in on a delivery box the way the kitchen species does. It lives outdoors, in sewers and storm drains, and comes up through plumbing, through cracks, through exactly the kind of connection your kitchen drain is. So the two rules that sound almost identical, the box and the drain, are actually closing two completely different doors for two completely different species. One that hitchhikes in through what you carry, and one that climbs in through what's already connected to the outside. A drain is dark, warm, damp, and completely undisturbed, exactly the environment that kind of entry depends on. And it's also where small flies breed, inside the pipe, not on the counter, which is why spraying the counter never actually touches either source. You've been cleaning the room the bugs pass through and ignoring the two separate paths they actually use to get there. Once a week, pour a kettle of boiling water slowly down the kitchen drain. It takes 30 seconds, and it's the one step on this entire list that happens somewhere you can't see, which is exactly why almost nobody does it. While you're at it, run a hand along the edge of any window screen you actually open for airflow. A tear at knee height looks like nothing from across the room and does nothing to stop what's small enough to fit through it. The drain and the screen are both about a gap you've stopped checking because it used to be fine. The next rule is about a gap you were never taught to check in the first place. The fifth Japanese kitchen rule Americans break is about the entryway, not the kitchen itself. In a Japanese home, there's a designated transition zone right at the front door, the genkan, where shoes and outdoor items get set down and dealt with before anything moves further into the house. In an American house, whatever arrives at the door, grocery bags, delivery boxes, goes straight through to the kitchen counter with nothing in between. That matters because the counter is where food gets prepared. And it's also now the first surface anything from outside touches. There's no checkpoint, no pause, no moment where something gets inspected before it reaches the room where you cook. So designate one spot near your door, even just a mat or a shelf, where anything from outside gets set down first, bags, boxes, anything. Let it be the transition zone before it becomes a kitchen problem instead of after. Everything so far has been about closing individual gaps: the box, the pantry, the trash, the drain, the door. But there's a reason Japan's actual retail approach to the worst kitchen pest looks completely different from the American one, and it explains something bigger than any single habit on this list. And it also finally explains why Rule 1 was never really about the box. The sixth Japanese kitchen rule Americans break isn't really a habit, it's a choice about how to fight in the first place. In Japan, the dominant cockroach product sold in every drugstore is a small bait station, not a spray, something you place in a corner and essentially forget about. And the timeline is the part that actually says something. A standard box of these stations is rated to work for roughly 6 months to a year after you place it. Walk down the pest control aisle of an American store, and the comparable bait product on the shelf is typically rated for about 2 weeks. That's not a small gap in shelf life. That's a completely different idea of what the product is supposed to do. One is a long-term structural fix you set and forget. The other is closer to something you reapply the way you'd reapply a spray. Here's the part almost nobody knows, and it connects straight back to that egg case from Rule 1. A contact spray kills on the surface, but it cannot get through the hard shell of an Uthaka, which is exactly what that shell evolved to resist. So even a direct hit with a spray can wipe out every adult you can see and still leave a sealed case tucked in a seam somewhere, completely untouched, ready to hatch weeks later like nothing happened. Bait works differently and slower, on purpose. A roach eats it, carries it back to wherever the case is hidden, and dies there, not in front of you. Before it dies, other roaches eat its droppings, and some eat the carcass itself, and each one that does picks up a lethal dose the same way. This is called secondary kill, and it reaches places a spray physically cannot, because the poison travels through the colony's own behavior instead of through you, finding every hiding spot yourself. Spray and bait used together actually work against each other. The chemical smell from the spray can repel roaches away from the bait, meaning the one habit undoes the other. So the fight was never really about killing the one you can see. It's about accepting that the visible roach was never the actual problem. The case you can't see is. And letting the colony's own habits carry the solution back to where the problem is actually hiding, for months at a time instead of 2 weeks at a time. That is the exact same principle behind every rule in this video. The box, the pantry, the trash, the drain, the door, none of them are about attacking a bug after it arrives. Every one of them removes the condition that was inviting it in, or reaches the place a surface level fix never could. That's the whole difference in one sentence. Stop treating the bug as the problem, and start treating the hidden thing behind it as the problem. Americans grew up assuming bugs in the kitchen are just something that happens eventually in every house. It's not a fixed condition. It's 6 specific ordinary gaps, and every one of them is closable tonight. There's a 2-question test you can run on anything in your kitchen right now. First, is this thing sealed, or does it just look sealed? Second, if there's something here I can't see, where would it actually be hiding? And is it even the same one I already dealt with? The best thing to start with tonight is the box by your door, if you have one. Open it outside, break it down the same day, and check the seams before you toss it, not just the flat sides. It costs nothing, and you'll notice the difference the next time you walk into your kitchen. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. Check out my previous video appearing on your screen, and I'll see you in my next video.